أهلين، مساء الخير.
المحفز لازم نرد بس أهلا وسهلا.
Of course you can. You're my buddies. You can talk to each other. You can slap each other. It's up to you what you want to do. How are you guys
يعطيك
doing?
العافية دكتورة. We're doing well.
يعافيكم. شلونكم؟ شو أخباركم?
الحمد لله
Everybody's
بخير.
okay? All right, we'll start in a few minutes. Let me just, I'll give them another couple of minutes before we get started. Here we go. There's more people joining. Nice to see familiar faces. Always nice to see. And we'll get started in a minute. Everybody has off now. سلام أهلا شلونكم؟
هلا دكتورة.
كيفك؟ شو أخبارك؟
والله بخير، عاش من سمع الصوت.
والله يا عاش من قال أنتوا وينكم؟ فقدناكم بصراحة.
احنا والله لاهين بالكلاسات، تعرفين
شلون
يعني الواحد. ها؟
How are your classes?
الحمد لله كلها ممتازة. كلها ممتازة الحمد لله.
Okay.
بالذات كلاس الصبح الواحد يكون نشيط.
You know إذا بالبيت نشيط طبعا، إذا لازم يطلع ويقعد بالزحمة مليون سنة لا شوية راح يختلف الوضع.
إيه فالواحد ببيته يقوم صح ناصر؟
إيش رأيكم؟
إيش رأيكم يا جماعة؟
He'll join us. شو رأيكم? You like the classes in the morning during the summertime?
أنا مو ماخذ صيف عشان أحد أعرف الصراحة.
أنت مو ماخذ صيفي؟ Oh, I didn't know that. How come? Good choice, by the way. You feeling okay?
أكيد.
Did you have your hot chocolate yet?
لا والله مسألة حسوي ريكورد أصلا للسيشن وحروح أسوي ماي ستاف بنعطي شوي فريك.
طب شو بتسوي بالsummer time if you're not doing work? Are you volunteering? Are you doing something?
والله يعني عندنا مسابقة بشهر 11.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
مسابقة شنو؟
يعني سايبر سيكيورتي وإثيكال هاكينج. فعم بشوف الموضوع يعني بتدرب شوي على الخفيف.
That's awesome. So you're taking it seriously.
Yes, إلى حد ما.
يلا good. I'm proud of you guys. طيب, let's get anybody else joining for this اللي عم يتكلم عنه عبد الرحمن؟
Yes. في ناصر وعلي وزينب.
Okay, cool. And this is through who?
يعني هي المسابقة سويتها institution بس ما أعرف مين هي، وهي يعني الهدف تبعها إنه women cyber security، إنه for women شو اسمه يعني خلي women يصيروا involved بهالأمور. بس إحنا we were allowed to join or participate يعني.
So you're allowed to be part of a team, basically.
Yes.
All right, that's excellent.
And
سلام أهلا.
يسمعكم على مسابقة.
Yeah.
إذا إحنا مشاركين فيها، هي اللي مسوينها Women in Cyber Security Middle East. هي هذه المنظمة اللي مسوية المسابقة. هم يعني عشان يبون empower الwomen في مجال cyber security. فعارضين كل تيم minimum في 1 female participant. ولازم إنه يكون في student بعد يعني.
Good.
كانت هذه الشروط يعني إن هذا أهم شروط يعني في المشاركة.
أنا لازم يكون فيها 1 female minimum.
إيه عادي يعني 1 female و 3 males عادي يعني.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'm glad that you guys are joining forces and going to, inshallah, do a wonderful job. I'm pretty sure of that. Keep me posted. I'd love to know how you're doing. Okay, let's get the party started. We're here to talk a little bit about the CV writing. Now we noticed that we have, we're kind of running into a problem not necessarily a problem, but more of, we need to do something in order to put together a good CV. And we're slowly realizing in that we should bring this conversation a little early on in the academic stages. لأن هلا عم نوصل للنهاية, or we're almost at the end for those of you who did graduate or are going to graduate soon. And we're realizing the importance of having a CV. We're also realizing the importance of developing our CV along the way. Right? A lot of you, I've been noticing in don't have a CV actually, and don't realize that everything you are doing currently, you should be keeping track of. I think, it's also something that we need to practice regularly, that we need to think of a CV as a journey. It's the journey that you take throughout your career, من ناحية professional career and academic career, and they have to be matching. Both of them have to be matching and walking بنفس الطريقة عم يمشوا, so that we can have a match later on, وبنقدر نوصفها بالسي في بحيث ان واحدة تتأقلم مع الثانية او تساعد الثانية. We don't want our academic يكون مختلف عن الجوب اللي بدنا ناخدها او نقدم عليها. Why? لأن this way I want to make sure, hello, I like how you're turning on your cameras. I want to make sure that my CV أو my career اللي عم بسويه اللي عم بدرسه, this I want it to match with what I want to do later on. Otherwise it would be a waste of time. So we don't want to get to that stage. So the head of the workshop is to think about the CV in a different light, or put the spotlight on it in a little bit more macro perspective. ونشوف إن this is something that we're going to improve and add on to throughout the years. We also have to be careful in knowing what to put on the CV and how to put it. So I'm going to start with some simple things. Okay, so what's the objective of a CV? You guys can all see my slides, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What's the point of having a CV? A lot of times we think of a CV as a very one-dimensional thing. It's not just a one-dimensional exercise. It's a multi-dimensional exercise, and you're very limited in what you can project and what you can use. But you have to be extra careful with every little thing that you make or you add onto your CV. I don't want to say every word. I'm going to say everything اللي موجود ومتكون وبيكون الشيء اللي اسمه CV. We have to be very careful because every little bit counts. كل الأمور هاي اللي إحنا you might think it's easy, it counts. So I have to think about what's the objective of a CV. هل هو بس إن أعطي CV وكتبت الإكسبيرينس تبعي وعطيته للجوب hunter or whoever I'm applying the job for? Yes, partly. ولكن now that we're a little bit more advanced and we have the right knowledge, we want to make sure that we make a good first impression. And Ali Al-Asaybi this morning, actually, in one of my classes, he said, that was the first thing he said. He said, the objective of having a CV is to make a good first impression. Why is that important? Because you have 10,000 other people applying for the same job. And guess what? 9,000 of them will probably use the same words that you're using. 8,000 of them will probably be, trying to outsmart one another in the same way that you are trying. 7,000, you get the point. So we need you to think about the objective of the CV. الهدف مو بس إنه أحط كمية experiences ولا the main achievements, if you will. That's not the only objective. The main objective: make a good first impression. Stand out in the crowd, right? How am I going to do that? I'm going to try to limit my word count and use my thesaurus. الthesaurus اللي هو راح يعطيني بديل للكلمة, right? But also I don't want to take it too far. وأحط كلمات they don't make sense, right? So I have to try to limit my word count in a way that's objective. مو بس I use the thesaurus لأني I want to look smart. No. I want to use a thesaurus أو أستخدم الكلمة المقصودة واللي راح تعطي الامبريشن, right? Because at the end of the day أنا راح أعطيه شوية من هون وشوية عن نفسي, شوية عن الأكاديميك, شوية عشان يكون الصورة اللي أنا أبي يرسمها, right? So I'm going to try to control most of the things that I'm going to put on my CV because I know that الامبريشن راح يتكون من وراء كل شيء كبير وصغير وكل شيء حطيته وما حطيته. All right. So your objective is also to organize your achievements and see أي واحدة is going to be relevant أكثر من الثانية, and how do we do that. طبعا فيها certain guidelines, and we will go through that. And then ultimately we want to get the right job. I would like to put as a في triangle تبع إنه be careful that you make a CV that's so wonderful that you lose the idea that you're trying to get a job that you like, right? I can manipulate it. I can put a CV اللي it looks amazing معطيها للوظيفة أو أقدم الوظيفة اللي أبيها، ولكن it's not going to be the right job for me إذا أنا منفخ من نفسي بالIT مع أن I don't know much IT, right? Or I said that I'm a creative writer وأنا بالفعل إذا فعلا خديت الوظيفة I'm not going to be successful. So some of the questions that run through your head, should I exaggerate? Should I dare say the word? Should I lie about my experiences? Nope, absolutely not. هيدا اللي بدنا نتجنبه. Okay, that's what we want to avoid. The idea isn't to put everything on the CV. The idea is to try to filter and make it as objective as possible. In the meantime, we can exaggerate, but not to the point where it's gonna take me down the wrong road. Yes, okay. What if I get the job? What's gonna happen then? I need to make sure that it's a right fit for me. Okay, and again, my academic and my professional experience should be matching, at least to some degree, especially in the beginning for people who are recently graduated or will graduate soon. Right. What should I include in my CV? Any work you did. أول لما بقول لك work experience ما راح يفرق بين ال paid work experience وال non paid experience. الشطارة اللي راح يقلب ال volunteer work to make it look like it's not look like, to show how it benefited them. فهو بالنهاية الemployer ما بهمه if you get paid or for it or not. بالعكس, in some volunteer experiences you're gonna see that you're learning soft skills. The soft skills are probably more important to an employer than you think. So you need to highlight, what did you learn from this experience? مو لازم أحط I volunteered. No, I don't care. بالعكس, try to manipulate it so that it's in your favor, right? You can also include any research you did, any business you were involved in, any activity which you joined, any clubs or extracurricular work. What I normally recommend to people who or students who are just graduating, or somebody who's never written a CV before, sit بينك وبين نفسك, go through this list. Any work I did, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any business, anything. Did you go to your father's work? Do you have an opportunity? It's never too late. Sometimes we think, well, I don't have any of these things. To be fair, if you dig deep enough, you will see that you have at least 1 or 2 of these things. And if you really are running out of luck وفعلا ما عندي any of these activities, I will start to work towards them, right? And this is also a social responsibility, which I myself take very seriously. أنا إذا ما وفرت الفرص هذيلا for my students or for my youth in general, they will never have these things, in can paid or not paid. So you also, once you get to a working position, you should provide this service for your community. Right? أولاً أنت عم تعلم the next generation of what they should expect, وبنفس الوقت يمكن تستفيد منهم. Like some of you joined the Huawei competition, and as soon as you did a wonderful job, هذا for Huawei تعتبر CSR, corporate social responsibility. ليش؟ لأنه هو عم يعطي back to the community, عم بيشجع, عم بيحفز. وفي النهاية, what did he discover? I can hire these people. So it's a great opportunity that we should all be responsible for as a community. It's not just the students or اللي ما عنده experience. It's not just their, they should go out and look for it. No, إحنا كمان لازم نوفر هذا الشيء, and I take that really seriously, especially in academia. All right, so whenever you get an opportunity to join, لا نستخف أو لا نستهين بالشيء اللي إحنا قدمناه, إن كان volunteer أو paid أو whatever it may be. All right. What not to include in your CV? I don't want to know too much personal information. I don't want to know, maybe I want to know if you're single or married, but only put it if it's relevant, to be honest. Yani at your level, I don't think it's necessary unless you do have a family. Um, you shouldn't put how many kids you have. You can hear my kids now in the background. You shouldn't put your salary expectation. Uh, you should never talk about why you left your previous job. Well, sometimes they'll trick you when they have an interview with you. They'll say, well, why did you leave your previous job? Don't fall for it. Always keep it positive and keep it ethical. Even if somebody did you wrong, don't badmouth. Don't put a responsibility only on the other party. Be fair. مثلا, well, I was promised a promotion, and unfortunately, due to the coronavirus, it didn't fall through, to no fault of anyone. However, I was fair to myself and I left the job. Um, and don't also include references. References, yani, sometimes they'll ask you, can you give me a letter of experience? Don't include it right away in your CV. I see a lot of the rookies or the people who are just writing their CVs, they'll always include the references and the degrees. Yes, they'll ask you for this later. I'm not saying don't use it, بس لا نحطها as part of our CV. CV maximum should be maximum 2 to 3 pages. To start, 1.5, maximum 2 pages for you, right? So I shouldn't. Yes.
الدكتور علي شمخة عميد الجامعة، شفت السي في مالنا ذاك اليوم كان 72 صفحة.
How much work experience, how many years of experience does he have?
هو عنده وايد، بس يعني هم 72 صفحة ما يعتبر وايد حق سي في.
Absolutely, but is this the same CV اللي he will send to another job? I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. However, here's how it works. For every action, there's an opposite and equal. There's always an offset. The higher you go up the hierarchy, the more they want to see your achievements. So in academics, ليش بتطول معه CV? لأنه for every year he's doing maybe 2 or 3 researches, right? He has to write every detail of the research. فلازم يكون, شمخة علي, التايتل تبع. So it takes up some space. This is one thing. The higher you go for a job, if he's a GM or a dean, he must show his accomplishments. مو معناها I put everything. I'm sure he has way more than what he's mentioned on the CV, by the way. Academia is a little different. لأنه academic, I will show you my CV. I need to see your accomplishment من ناحية journal writing, which is the research. I need to see your accomplishments in books. I'll show it to you. But I highly doubt إنه هاي السي في اللي هو كان مقدمها to get a job, right? If at his level, I will say no more than 5 pages. بعدين they will ask for more. Well, okay, can you tell me more about your educational background or about your research? بصير عنده CVs, especially for his research. I used to have a CV just for sports because it didn't fit with most of the jobs that I did, but it was relevant enough for me to say I coached people. I had, 300 participants. It was relevant in some way, but at some point, if the experience is too much, we create a separate CV for it and we present it at a later stage, right? I'm seeing something in the chat, but because I'm screen sharing, I can't see the chat. Sorry, my kids the circus is in town. Quiet, please. So yes, most of their CVs are going to be heavy, but that's the CV they're using to introduce their grandness, which they deserved over a 20-year career, 20 plus years. احنا at, between 0 to 5 or 5 to 10 years, no more, please, especially at the beginning, no more than 2 pages. بدهم references, they'll ask for it later. Okay, they'll say, give me reference letters, for example. And again, this is part of your volunteer work. Your volunteer work, انت في النهاية, you're not just, it's not just to have something to write on your CV. Also, you will get a reference letter or an experience letter in Wallah. Ali did a wonderful job. I really liked his style of coaching or tutoring, right? This is what you should, يعني اللي بنسعى عليه من وراء experiences and volunteer work هم هذين reference letters. If you have, for example, like the Huawei, if you have the certificate, keep it for later. Keep it as a separate portfolio. Or if you go to the interview, show them. بس هل معناها ما احطه بالسي في؟ No, I will put it in the CV. اوكي بعدين اذا طلبوا مني الشهاده this is what I call a reference انه وريني الاوريجينال. All right, let's get to the good stuff. Pro tip number 1. Do your research. Do your research. شوفوا هون بقول لك relevant job advert. Relevant. Keep your CV relevant. This is an example of a job that they're hiring for. Okay, you can go into any site that you're, if you want to go to get a job in, بتشوف إذا في positions available. Usually بيطلع لك a job advertisement. What's the position? هون بقول لك permanent, full time. The company is London based, blah blah blah. What does he want? The person who they will hire will have key responsibilities. Most of them بقول لك I need مثلا minimum requirement. هون حاطط لك key requirements or key responsibilities. So what you need to do is to examine this job title, and then you take the key words from them. List of crucial skills. Here they want, if you have a proven record of accomplishment, they want a proven sales record because it's a sales job. A portfolio. How did you grow the company, for example? What did you do that's important for whatever the position is asking for? It's a smart idea to go through the job advertisement نفسه وأطلع الكيوردز اللي هم بدهم إياه. This is exactly what they're looking for. Relationship building, presentations. Do you have IT experience? حتى لو كانت something you're doing on the side. Do you have a YouTube channel? My kids have a YouTube channel. I'm sure at some point it's going to be a relevant subject, right? You know how to use IT. This will give them the impression. But at the end of the day, you want to be as smart as possible and use as many clues as possible, right? ليش؟ عشان يكون الماتش بين الجوب description والسي في تبعك. The closer you are to matching the job description, the more likely you are to get the job. All right. At the beginning, هاي الأمور يمكن ما تهمني كتير, but it's still a good practice to look at the job experience or the job advert that I'm applying for. For example, again, also يعني مو بس الجوب نفسه. If you're applying to a position in IT, ال CV تبعك must include IT related terminology, things that اللي بهم ال IT أو الشخص اللي راح يعينك for the IT. Speak their lingo, speak their language. If it's a sales job, try to push it to more towards sales. If it's IT and it's in Huawei, okay, راح تختلف شوي than IT in a bank or IT in a university. ليش راح يختلف؟ لأن they all have IT. بس واحدة مثلا the IT at a university or academic لازم تحط لي experience. Did you use Moodle before? Do you know what the front end of the user face is? Do you know do you have experience managing remotely, stuff like that? غير ما إنه if I'm applying for a job at some tech company, it's going to be more related to I have experience in the latest JavaScript, or I don't know what programming language they use. So it's the skeleton our foundation راح تكون the same, but it's also a good idea to have a look at the advertisement of the job and the company itself, right? So myself as an academic also, I can steer the CV towards an academic job in a university or an academic job in a consultancy. It's a little different. So always do your research. Here's an example. You should minimize your oldest career experience. هلا we'll go through how احنا كيف راح نرتب السي في, بس بدايتها I will always minimize the oldest career experience. It's not going to be so relevant. هن راح يطلعوا mostly على the most recent ones. So if you're looking at a manager role, you should put managerial words. Managed a budget. هدول كلمات احنا بنسمعها في management. And also if you're a manager, you need to show that you have been a leader before. What were your accomplishments? Increase revenue, if that's the case. Worked across 5 locations. This is something you guys can talk about as well. Participated in 5 volunteer organizations or just organizations. community projects, increased productivity of students by 10% over the course of one semester. مثلا, if you were tutoring or you were helping, gave 3 workshops, per semester, something like that. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So these are the, here they're telling you to basically use the lingo and also to try to incorporate some numbers, some key measures or some numbers that you contributed. Try to be as creative as possible, but let's not go into Lullaville or الاشياء اللي I increased the student productivity by 10%. بيجي بيسألك بنص الانترview and you have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, try to be as accurate as possible. Here's an example that's relevant to you guys. Remember بالبداية قلنا let's do a brainstorming session. If you really don't have anything for your CV, sit down and do a little brainstorming session. I guarantee you, every single time somebody came to me, whether students or cousins, or whenever we sat down and I said, you really got to brainstorm. Every single time there came at least 3 or 4 things that they did or that they could immediately do عشان يحطها experience بالCV. And when I say immediately, مو معناها I've been doing it for a while. I can also start tomorrow to go and volunteer or help my father, assist my father in his job, or shadow my mother in her job, and it will still count as something I can put on my CV. Example, I was part of the Yes Club. هلا لما نسوي البرينستورم هيك رح تطلع معي. I was part of this. I had an excellent. Let's use the lingo. Look at it in reverse. Founding member of Youth Empowerment Society. Why is this important? It will give the person the impression that you are an initiator. You created something. You're self-motivated, right? Remember in the beginning, use the thesaurus. I don't want to see words I don't want to see it. لا بالبداية ولا في النهاية. Rarely, very rarely, I will use the word I. Okay? I had an excellent final year project idea. Develop a prototype for solar-powered water filter. Developed. Use these words that we like, right? Use verbs. They're teaching this to my kid now in grade 4. Use descriptive words, whether they are an adjective or a verb, right? To draw the picture with more detail, right? And as much as you can, التip اللي قبله, match those words with the job description. أو إذا ما كان في job description بالشيء اللي أنت أو الكومباني اللي أنت عم you're applying for. Use their lingo. If it's a bank, use banking lingo. If it's Huawei, use Huawei lingo. And the third one is I volunteered. Different experiences. أول واحدة كانت فعلا they volunteered in the Yes Society. تاني واحدة they came up with a project. ثالث واحدة I volunteered for student assistant, mentored students for several engineering courses. This way أصلا اللي قدامك نسى إنه هذا الشيء يمكن يكون volunteer or not. بالعكس بتعرف شو راح يسألكم? What courses did you teach? Oh, and what did you do? Oh, well, I prepped them. I did research. I was assisting my Dr. Randa. Oh, and by the way, here's a recommendation letter from Dr. Randa. I actually did such a wonderful job. They gave me a recommendation letter. This is how you play one thing against the other. Pro tip number 2, keep it simple. Ladies and gentlemen, no one wants to see this, the big paragraph. I did this. I don't want to see this. And I'm telling you from my personal experience, I do this stuff and I help people pick the right person for the right job. And believe me, when I see, not just me, whenever they see something like this, straight out the window, you don't even get a chance. Make sure that your CV is as simple to read and easy on the eyes as possible, right? August 2009, this example, to date يعني till present, he's still in his job, right? So لأنها it's أحدث وظيفة راح يحط لي the responsibilities والachievements, طبعا bullet points. I never want to see a paragraph, right? He's gonna put it for me more than الjob اللي قبله. فهون I think he puts 10 or Yeah, about 10 bullet points maximum. Maximum. If I was him, I would put 5 to 7. If you're just starting, 3 to 5. وأجين حسب الوظيفة اللي I wanted, right? Here's another do's and don'ts. Don't ever do this kind of colors. Don't ever put colors that are irrelevant or non-practical. Use colors that are generic. I know you want to keep it, you're going to personalize it, and we're going to talk about that. Well, I could keep it still simple, right? Because at the end of the day, we're going to have to print the CV, and we don't want, too many colors. Really, we don't. Avoid cliches. A lot of you, when you put, for example, a personal profile, let's read what this guy says. Accomplished project management professional with exposure to large-scale defense and maintenance projects with leading global organizations. شوفوا keywords: leading, accomplished, exposure, defense and maintenance, because that's the job he wants, or that's the sector that he's going for. He never once said I. Personal profile, we try to avoid the word I. We also try to avoid, later on he puts I, but that's descriptive. He's using a different technique. Later on we can, I still don't recommend, but if you really have to use it once or twice, that's all you need. Avoid cliches, يعني avoid expressions or words that everybody else is going to use. I saw a lot of passionate, the word passionate, the word hardworking, the word team player, enthusiastic. Don't use these cliche words. We don't like them. And they come across as you being ingenuine. They don't come across as you being really showing me who you are, right? And we said every word counts because the space is limited. So be careful not to use cliches. Pro tip number 3 is, number 2 is leading to number 3, which is the unique profile, accomplished administration. I forgot I even put the slide in. But here's also where you keep it neat. Look at this guy. He's got 2 pages of CV. Only the first maximum 3 to 5 lines اللي هو he puts as his professional profile. Maximum. We don't want too much space. And in mine, you will see I only have 1 line or 2. Use a professional email ID. Sometimes we have an email, طبعا we have to include the email in the CV. Sometimes we'll see, prettygirl@gmail.com or handsome man at 145@hotmail.com. Try to keep it professional, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't have a professional email address, please create one. Pro tip number 4, proper structure. Here's your structure. Everybody, has been, I saw recently email CVs. I think the main problem was this, the proper structure. What's the proper structure? Well, here is the guideline to a proper structure. But again, you'll see also in the example later, it depends on the job. In general, here's how we structure it. The first thing that people want to see is your career experience. Where did you work? We have to put the most recent work first, right? We should include the heading, easy to read, and then the company name, and what exactly was your role. And of course, with the year, when did you start and when did you stop? You don't have to give me an exact month, but you should give me من إلى, ويكون فيها الاسم and your job title. وبعدين أحط the key responsibilities. So the first thing people want to see is your career experience. The next thing people want to see is your educational experience. Do you have a bachelor's degree? Even if you don't have it, you should still put it, when did you start? And then you put a dash and you put present, يعني لهلا, still ongoing, right? Then they want to see your achievements and awards, anything that's relevant. Anything that's relevant من ناحية achievements. شفتوا هدول الدبلوmas or certificates that you include in your CV. This is where you include them. But it's only 1-liner, 1 or 2 lines maximum. I want to see achievement after achievement after achievement, or award after award after award. Okay, I don't want to see too much descriptive I was on a team of 5 people and we won first place. No, the name of the certificate and the date that you got it. The name of the certificate مثلا وأقدر أكتب a small description underneath presented by Huawei International, something like that. Okay, I don't want to see too much information. And if I do it this way حق هواوي لازم أسوي نفس الشيء حق الأورد اللي بعده. Okay, presented by KCST. You can put, بين قوسين president of KCST, something like that. All right, you want to make it as grand as possible. Then you want to show them your core skills. Your core skills is really what are you good at? Do you know how to use C++? Do you know how to use? And I've seen some nice CVs where they separate. This is my technical skills. Please don't put for me your soft skills. I don't want to know that you're a responsible adult that comes in on time. I want things that are relevant to the job. Remember, your CV should be objective, right? So what are your core skills? You can give me technical skills. You can give me IT skills, right? You can give me skills that you've gained as a negotiator. I have a negotiation certificate, so I can put it here. So it doesn't qualify as a soft skill. Oh, I'm a good team player. Yeah, good for you. I don't care. I'm lovable. Yeah, wow. We want things that are objective. So if it matters that you have a negotiation skills, of course it matters for me because if I want to be a consultant, but not so much if I want to apply for a job that's academic. All right. My kids, they have a brown belt in karate. Why is that relevant? Because I can add it to my CV to show the advancement or the discipline that I have. Right? So it shows in multiple levels. I don't want to know too much about something that's not relevant. Actually, I don't want to know about it at all. Then towards the end, people like to see your community involvement. If you didn't use the community involvement بشكل experience in can career or educational experience or achievement and award, this is where you include them. Community involvement. I write for the university newspaper. I volunteer my time at a local shelter during COVID. These are the small things, not small. These are the other things that you do that you didn't use already in your CV. Last thing I want to know about is your interest in your hobbies. Maybe the older school of thought, like, these things are necessary, but at this point in time, I need to know why you're telling me your interest and hobby. إذا ما كان له داعي, I don't want to know about it. Nasser, for example, he plays paintball. Why is that important to me? Because he won so many awards. He won so many medals or whatever they call them, right? So I need to know this because it adds value to his CV. بس إذا أنا حطيت, oh, I'm interested in swimming, good for you. If it doesn't add value, don't put it. And the trick, again, to go back to square one and realize that I have to brainstorm. And if I brainstorm enough, I will find an interest or a hobby that will benefit me on my CV. Okay, even if it's reading, even if it's writing, even if it's conversational, whatever it is, you will find a way to make it relevant. All right, here's my CV, or a snapshot of my CV. I took it straight from the... Okay, so here, my first one is academic experience. My next one is professional experience. So these are different, a little different when it's academia. Now, here's the part that I want to talk to you about in terms of academic achievements. You said that he had, mashallah, 72 pages. This is why. Because he has to show me his journal articles, his authored books, his book chapters, his conference papers, and the list goes on and on and on and on. وكل واحدة يبي لها 3-4 أسطر. Right? So in this, you'll see that this is his true accomplishment. This is where they assess us when we are academics. So each one will be a little different. Here, I put academic experience first, above my professional experience, because I'm applying for academia. Pro tip number 5, keep it tidy. Divide your CV sections clearly, like we saw earlier. Make it easy on the eyes. List your roles in reverse chronological order, يعني the most recent one on top, وبعدين اللي بعده واللي بعده, with the most recent one دايما نزيد عليها الpoints. 3 to 5 points for you for now. Beginning of your career is more than enough. Mid-career, we look for 5 to 10 points, and so on and so forth. Send your CV in PDF format. Some people send it in Word format, but I think you guys are more aware now, and you know that PDF is probably the nicer look. There's also a lot of templates out there, which will help you also structure your CV in terms of putting the sections clearly and what to write and where to write it. I highly recommend the templates. Those will help you and they'll guide you. And give it a professional file name. When you save the PDF file, لا نحط بس مثلا CV1 or updated CV. No, I'll put my name, for example, engineer, ENG, and then your initials, or graduate, give it a nice flair. This will also help people distinguish you from everybody else. It will automatically distinguish you. And having it in a PDF format makes it like يعني بيعطيه غلاف. Okay, don't add too many things. Don't add a reference letter, don't add an introduction letter unless they ask for it. Here's another general tip. When we're talking about keeping it neat, I notice a lot of you, even when you are writing your assignments, so it will end at one page and then you don't have a look at it. I need you to have a look. I need it to be split correctly so that it looks nice, it looks tidy, it looks neat. Okay, I need you to have a look at it. Once you're finished, go back and have a look at it and see how it flows. And if it's something like this, please put this part on the second page. I don't want to start to read a sentence and then the next sentence is on a different page. Okay, trust me, every one of these things counts. Every little thing you put and you take care of or you don't take care of, they count. And that's it for me. I think the last question that I want to address is, Miss, should we put a picture? We talked about this in the class this morning. Of course, you should put a picture, especially nowadays. I even had some cool CVs, and I'll give you a little tip, that had like a QR code where somebody can click on the QR code and go to your website or your electronic version of your CV, or if you have, it doesn't even have to go to your CV. It can go to your portfolio. إذا عندك portfolio, or here's a good idea I just thought of. Why don't you scan all of your certificates and put a link so that, if somebody asks right away, the references are there, but they're not taking up too much space from your CV. Get creative. You are the next generation. Put your picture, because when we put a picture, we send out an energy, we send out an idea about ourselves. And many, many times I've seen people rely on the picture, especially لما يكون عندهم مليون CV. They will sort through the filing. They will profile it by picture. So if you want, a professional job, make sure you have a professional picture. If you have, I don't want them kashir face. That really speaks volumes. It comes across as somebody you don't want to work with. And this is, again, from my experience. I see this in front of me. It happens all the time. So be careful everything you put and everything you don't put on the CV. So I highly recommend you follow these objectives, or these guidelines, if you will. All right, I'm gonna look at the chat now. أثناء كتابة السي في شلون أقيم نفسي بتخصص معين؟ مثلا أنا أقيم نفسي 90% بتخصص معين، لكن بالمقابل أكتشف أن التقييم الحقيقي 30%. If you have a doubt, ignore it. Don't put it. أو لا تحط عليه مؤشر. Okay, حط experience بس لا تحط المؤشر. Okay, assisted students in obtaining or assisted students in labs. That's more than enough. I don't have to say I improved the students 70%. No, you're right. At some level, I don't know. أنا شنو تقييمتي. I could be very biased. So I would say avoid it. If you are not sure of it, avoid it. Avoid it altogether. And just put the actual experience and use the right words that will help you maximize الفكرة اللي تبي توصل أو المعلومة اللي تبي توصل لهم إياها. All right. with that, I conclude this session. If you have any questions, this is your time to ask me. So I leave the floor to you guys. Any questions?
أولا يعطيك ألف عافية دكتورة. Thank you so much على التبس، كتير استفدنا. Thank you so much وشكرا جميعا على حضوركم اليوم. Thank you جميعا. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
سؤال
all.
formality بس why is everyone formal?
Because we're trying to write a formal CV.
No.
تمام يعطيك العافية دكتورة. أنا بس المشكلة ما كنت موجود طول الوقت، بس يعني كنت قاعد أسمع خصوصا بالبداية، بعدين شوية موجود وبعدين رديت يعني.
Are you telling me my session was boring in the middle? If so,
لا
that's
لا
fine.
لا
I accept it.
لا كان لازم أقوم وأرد، مو إنه بورنج. لا أنا كان لازم أقوم.
Sure, no problem
عادي
at all.
سايبين المحاضرة عندنا.
Doctor, I do have a question then. I do have
Tell
a question.
me.
You told us no need to add the references. And for example, as you said, if you want, for example, in a competition or something, you don't need to have to give the certificate in the CV itself. Yeah.
No, you don't. You just put the title under awards and achievements. حطي انت شو achievement، اسم certificate وشو الدate اللي انت امتى حصلتيها. That's it.
Great. Okay.
Okay, don't include it all in your CV. You can, for example, ناس ما تكلمنا انه تسوي QR code, or later on if they give you the interview, you bring these things with you physically. Sometimes you'll see people when they go for a job بيجيبوا معهم الفايل. Oh, that's another pro tip. Keep at least 2 copies, 2 hard copies with you everywhere you go. حتى لو كان second interview or third interview. سوي لك فايل وحطي كل هالامور فيه. فأنت هيك جاهزة. Every time somebody asks you something, or sometimes we get extra people أو بينسوا يسووا printing. It happens a lot, by the way. أو في extra person who's joining you. أنت بتقول لهم oh here you go, I have a CV. بتكون already stapled, بتكون already جاهزة. And at any point in the conversation بقدر طلع ال certificate. I say oh as a matter of fact I have them here if you'd like to see them. Okay, but to include it all in the CV, it's not professional. It doesn't look too professional.
يعني دكتورة على كده هوت، يعني احنا السي في مو لازم يكون دايما ثابت، على حسب الشغل اللي احنا بنقدم ليه، صح؟
80 to 90% of it will be ثابت. بس انت شو you will play it up a little bit. If it's a banking job, I will play up the banking experience or the keywords اللي راح استخدمهم. Right?
فهمت عليك.
Yeah, but 80% of it, you know, minimum will be the same. Anybody else have any questions?
Thank you, Miss. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Is it recorded? Because unfortunately I was very late because I had a class. That's why.
Yeah, it is recorded. بس
المشكلة عنا احنا. أنا سويت record.
Okay.
Oh,
thank
okay,
you.
good. Because I don't know. Profit sharing model. I don't know where I should put it, because if I put it, if I upload, I can upload it on Moodle. Sorry, on YouTube, can't I? But I don't have a channel. Do I?
You could have it and send us the link then, or we could find a way.
Make it a channel.
انتوا الاي تي وانتوا التكنولوجي، الله يخليك. Somebody take care of it. I have it recorded.
ونحطه ونظبط.
لا ناخذ الدكتورة ورح نظبط لك اياه مع منورة.
Amazing.
نعمل حالنا احنا اللي عملنا له هوست، نسحب على الكلب الثاني.
I don't mind. You know what? It's we're all one at the end of the day. Why should I mind?
بس يعني عندك زينب ومنيرة هون، يعني هلا بعصبوا.
No, because عليكم بالعافية. We will always come up with something new. So if you want to copy and paste, it's up to شي راجع لك انت.
بالآخر دكتورتنا.
بالآخر we're all one. We all represent the same heart and the same idea, and we want to make a difference in the world. So
yes,
you know, if that's how we're gonna do it, then that's how we're gonna do it. I don't mind. Awesome. Where have you been?
السلام عليكم، شلونك دكتورة؟
I'm good. How are you, our graduate?
الحمد لله أنا بخير.
Did you apply to any jobs?
لا لحد الحين لا.
I think she's preparing her CV right now.
Exactly.
ما خرجتهم، ما أعطتهم شهادة إنهم تخرجوا، شهادة منهم الأم تخرجوا. هم لا هم طلبة ولا هم خريجين.
بس
معلقين
الله معك.
الدكتورة أصدمت عندي ناس بالبي سألت إذا يعني الشهادة عادلوها ولا لا. تخيل إن الشهادة للحين مو واصلت لهم من الجامعة، ويعني الديوان ما بقى عليه شيء ويسكر.
طب did you follow up with the Java? I'm sure they're not aware of this. Or are they?
والله تدرين أنا سألنا يعني ما أدري هم ليش كذي يعني وايد بطيئين ما أدري.
Well, everybody these days, but you know, it's worth following up. But I just wanted to also say to everybody, if you have a CV and you want me to look at it, I'm very happy to do that for you. Send it to me to my email or through social media. It's up to you. I'll be more than happy to have a look at it.
أنا already سويت CV بس بعد المحاضرة هذه في كم شغلة لازم تنشال.
I'm sure most of you felt this way. I apologize if it felt like a personal attack, but it's not. It's really, you know, guiding you guys into these things.
لا والله الدكتور يعطيك العافية صدق يعني استفدت من المحاضرة جدا جدا مفيدة.
Alhamdulillah, I'm glad to be of service. All right, so if you have a CV, send it over to me. Yes.
The slides, can we take them?
Yes, of course you can take them.
Nice.
I will send it to you on the Telegram.
Okay.
Deal?
Deal.
Anything else, guys?
دكتورة أنا بعد أبي الباوربوينت.
راح أعطيهم لعبد الرحمن. Share them, عبد الرحمن. Would you?
Allah.
How can we share them?
Yes, give it to me. الفيديو والباوربوينت.
عبد الرحمن الجروب.
سويهم باكيج وحط عليهم سبيشال اوفر.
عبدك زينب.
You guys want to know
بالبركة عليه بالبركة عليه.
عليه بالعافية. Zainab now knows my tricks. I have something that I'd like to mention. I think most of you are also seeing this idea that now you're in university. This is where we learn. And I hope you take it in a different context. لأنه أنا I see هلا يعني على ثالث ورابع سنة الواحد بصير light bulb goes off and you know, oh yeah, I didn't learn this. Guess what? It was available to you the entire time. بس احنا عم ننظر على الاكسبيرينس بحيث انه it's just a destination I need to reach. It's just a degree I need to fulfill. Why don't we start this mindset earlier? مو نوصل لثالث ورابع سنة ونتخرج وما يكون عندنا CV to no fault of your own عواطف or anybody else. It's not your fault. It's احنا كلنا we have to work together to really see the educational experience as something that's going to benefit me later. مو بقى اتخرج وبعدين افكر oh I didn't do any work. I don't have experience. I don't know how to write a CV. No, it's partly our fault as well as educators. We should have done this. But it's also your responsibility to start looking at education as something that will help you in the future, not just a bachelor degree. يعني مثلا أنا الحين I'm getting requests. Miss, can you do this for us? يعني is this available for people who don't attend KCST? Of course it's available. لأن تدرون ليش؟ إذا يبيها من برا he's going to pay for it. You are paying for your education. You just don't realize what you need out of it, right? Let's not think of education as just a destination to get a bachelor degree. Let's think of education that will help as something that will help me to get to, you know, the wazifa that I want. CV writing workshop, management 101, leadership class. These are not just classes عشان الواحد يسوي test. ما بدي إياكم تتخرجوا وبعدين you feel that you need to take workshops. CV writing workshop 45 دينار. Do your شو اسمه motivational speaking 70 دينار. You don't need any of that. You're already paying for an education. Take it not more seriously. حط the frame of mind that you are gaining knowledge and you will see that by the end you have everything. All right. Thank you guys for attending. I really appreciate you. And I hope I've answered your questions. I will share the slides with Abdurrahman and the recording will be made available to you. If you have your CV, send it over to me. I'll be more than happy to have a look at it for 3,000 KD. Thank you very much. Just kidding. Just والله it's a joke.
عم بحاول أبعت بالإيميل بس يعني ترددت.
All right guys, have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.